from Indianapolis Raceway Park for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Friday night short track race in what is the third to last race of the regular season in 2026 for these truckers. And here this evening, pole sitter Lane Riggs trying to go for his fifth win in the series this season, while his teammate Chandler Smith, who won last weekend on the short track in North Wilkesboro Speedway, trying to go back-to-back, also starting on the front row with him. Couple of newcomers into the series today, like the likes of Nick Sanchez piloting the number 77 truck for Spire Motorsports. Connor Mosack back in the 7 as well for Spire, and a few others from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series running in tonight's race in particular. As far as this race goes, this is a short track race for the Truck Series, one of 4 to end the regular season. Last weekend I mentioned already at North Wilkesboro, this weekend at IRP, and then they race at Richmond in a couple of weeks from now, a couple off weeks before the Richmond race, and then of course the regular season finale at New Hampshire. And even if you want to go into a 5th consecutive short track race, Bristol Motor Speedway going to be the first chase race out of 7 for these Truck Series drivers as well. 10 drivers will make the chase. You can see the points scrolling across the top of the screen for the top 15 in points. Top 10 consistently in points will make it. 2 drivers are locked in through the first 15 of 18 regular season races. Lane Riggs and Caden Honeycutt are those 2 drivers. Chandler Smith sits 3rd in points, with Christian Eckes 4th and Gio Ruggiero rounding out the top 5. Ty Majeski in 6th, Ben Rhodes 7th, Daniel Hemrick in 8th, Grant Enfinger 9th, and Stuart Friesen finishes out the top 10. First driver that is up outside the cut line coming in, Tyler Anker, in virtue of a tiebreaker. Stuart Friesen has that final position entering the evening. Jake Garcia comes in 12th in points. Brendan Queen 13th in points. Corey Heim, despite only starting 6 of 15 races, is 14th in points with 3 wins. And Andres Perez 15th in the standings. And even Perez all the way down to 15th by no means is out of it right now. Only 31 points below the cut line. You can score up to 76 points in a race if you have the fastest lap and win all 3 stages, and of course end up winning the race with that. I mentioned already, Lane Riggs has the most wins in the series, 4 of them on the season. It has been a very, very strong run as of late for Front Row Motorsports. Riggs has 3 of his 4 wins in the last month and a half. Chandler Smith, the win last weekend in dominating fashion at North Wilkesboro, leading the most laps and winning the race. Actually led over 100 of 250 laps in that race. He's 3rd in points pretty much all by himself. Still a little bit of a lengthy gap to try to catch Caden Honeycutt and Lane Riggs for the regular season championship. Mathematically, only the top 5 would have a shot at the regular season title still entering tonight. And we could eliminate a couple of those going into these final 2 races. But Lane Riggs and Caden Honeycutt, pretty much a head-to-head battle between those 2 for that regular season championship to try to get the number 1 seed. Riggs with a 59-point lead over Caden Honeycutt. So definitely been the most consistent, and those extra wins going to help Lane Riggs a huge deal of the way. Starting lineup for tonight's race. Let me see if I can get the raw feed up and running. It has been down on NASCAR.com so far for the start of the stream. Obviously, the truck race has not started yet. Once it will, I think I'll have a better chance of trying to get this lineup and leaderboard up there. So for right now, I'm just going to have to read the starting order off from my phone on the NASCAR mobile app. And starting on the front row, I mentioned already both front row motorsport Fords that have dominated the summer stretch of the Truck Series schedule. Lane Riggs on the pole. Chandler Smith will be starting in second, trying to go for 2 in a row in 2 straight weeks. In row 2 will be Nick Sanchez in the 77 for Spire Motorsports, and Christian Eckes, full-time regular, still sitting top 5 in points. Stuart Friesen, best qualifying effort of the season. He'll be starting 5th in row 3 alongside the 2nd place driver in points, Caden Honeycutt. In row 4 will be Connor Mosack, a Grant Enfinger winner from a couple weeks ago at Lime Rock. And then in row 5, Ty Majeski, a former IRP winner, and Andres Perez. Michael Christopher Jr. will be in the 62 at Friesen Motorsports, and it'll be Brendan Queen, the rookie, on the outside of row number 6. In row 7 will be Tyler Ankrum alongside Parker Eatman in the 42 for Nice Motorsports. And then row 8, Jake Garcia and Gio Ruggiero, a couple more full-time regulars. Tanner Gray and Daniel Hemrick will be in row 9. And row 10 will be Gavin Bolshell and Landon Lewis. We saw Lewis get a top 10 last week in a great run with Nice at North Wilkesboro. Dawson Sutton Ben Rhodes will be in row number 11. Harrison Burt will be in the 5 truck for Tricon Garage this evening alongside Justin Haley in row 12. Cole Butcher, Timmy Hill, row 13. Row 14, Chris Wright and Minnie Tyrell. Row 15 will be Connor Daly, which will be an interesting short track start for him in the truck series. He'll be in one of the Ram trucks alongside Corey LaJoy, his teammate for this evening. Jackson Messino will be in row number 16 alongside Tony Breidinger, back in the truck series this week after missing last week. Kason Everidge and Monty Tipton will be in row 17, and row 18 rounding out the field, Frankie Muniz and Spencer Boyd. 36 trucks full field for this evening. Will be starting the race tonight. You can vote for who you think is going to win the race in the chat poll, which will be open all the way until the end of stage 2. Your voting options are between Lane Riggs, Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, or somebody other than those 3 drivers. Riggs and Honeycutt, former winners at IRP. Honeycutt's second in points. Still looking for his first oval win, but he's been very consistent to be second in points for a reason. He's been very close to winning on several ovals so far this season. Only 18 votes have been casted in the early going of the stream. Shout out to those of you watching. We got Tyler Burbeck, Terry Lewis, Frank Powers, Bam Hall, Mark Guest, Connor Burke, and others. Welcome to the stream, everybody. Races on Fox Sports 1 this evening. Jamie Little going to be on the play-by-play in the booth. Been a few weeks since she's been in the truck series, but I believe with IndyCar off this weekend, that is the main reason for her being back. Lights are still on the Pace truck. For some late-breaking updates, I'll let you listen into the Fox booth until we get going green. 200 laps are scheduled distance tonight.
Very good point of contention. I have a lot of action going around him. We've watched this kid just continue to get 3 straight top guys for him. Wouldn't here tonight.
Well, you guys mentioned it. Just a packed house. I mean, 2 big races on the day. They just saw a thriller finish. Kate Honeycutt getting the win in the Arkman Arts Series. Look at them. Bring your blankets.
All over the hill. I mean,
chairs.
what more fun could you have?
Your cooler, yeah.
I'm going to remind you of Lime Rock. Plenty of place on the hillside. Enjoy some NASCAR.
Such a beautiful night. You see the cornfields back there. Brownsburg, Indiana.
What a great qualifying run for that 77 of Sanchez. Watch for him tonight. There's so many great stories in this field, and so hard to pick a winner. I mean, it's easy to say Lane Riggs is a favorite. Cade's a favorite as well, but there's so many guys like Connor Mosack who had a great practice session that can step up and get a victory here tonight.
6 short track races this year so far. The short track kings to watch. Grant Enfinger saw some of his fans out in that field.
We got Lane Riggs, 3 short track wins this season so far. He's been so fantastic.
Majeski has gone to victory lane here at IRP. And that's Chandler Smith, including one last week where he just wore the field out.
And it was his teammate, Lane Riggs, who wore the field out here last year. Won both stages, led 160 laps, got that big win. You see the best average finishes on short tracks. Lane Riggs getting it done. I love how the teammates are so close for this one, guys. It's the first front row start for Chandler Smith this season.
Hard to believe that it's the first time, but Chandler looked great last week, looking to carry that momentum back into this week.
Here we go. Into turn 3.
Lane Riggs elects to start up on the outside. We'll see that a lot tonight, I believe.
Chandler Smith, his teammate, on the inside. Nick Sanchez, you mentioned one to watch back in the 77 truck for Spire Motorsports, and Christian Eckes. Fans are on their feet. Green flag is in the air. We are racing at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
And as the field reaches its way to the green flag for the first time, already fanning out to 3 and nearly 4 wide into the first turn in the middle of the pack. Very wide in the corners, narrows up a ton on the straightaways. Very much a multi-groove racetrack. Drivers are going to be down on the apron with all 4 tires next to the grass, and some of those drivers are going to be working all the way near the wall on the outside of the corners. It's a very worn-out surface. It's a narrow racetrack. It just races much wider than it does appear. And a lot of slipping and sliding, of course, being a summer night in the month of July. Much more worn out surface than what these truckers were dealing with last weekend at North Wilkesboro Speedway, which that track has only had a few years on its surface. This one, many more than that. Lane Riggs, the pole sitter, leading the first couple laps of the race. 60 laps will be in both stages 1 and 2 tonight. 80 laps in the third and final stage, making up our 200-lap distance. There will be live pit stops here this evening, but because of how short all the stage lengths are on a short track for the Truck Series, they will not have to pit for fuel and tire purposes during the stages, though we could see some tire strategies with how worn out this surface is if we see cautions in the middle of the stages. Caution free in the final stage at North Wilkesboro of over 100 laps last weekend in the truck race and the cup race for that matter. Also having a very lengthy final stage by way of green flag racing. Will that turn over to be in the same case here this week? And again, the live leaderboard / raw feed on NASCAR.com currently not working. So if you're seeing a blank screen, it is not my fault. I think this is 2 weeks in a row that the Truck Series has been a little late with the live timing and scoring on NASCAR.com. It's working on the app. It's just the website it's down. We got our lap counter up at the top of the screen. That's still working. We just don't have the actual live leaderboard to go with it. And all the other race statistics you would usually see on our screen every live commentary stream like this. First of 4 streams this weekend, and obviously the only one here on this Friday night. We got a doubleheader tomorrow with Brickyard 400 qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series, as well as the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at 1:30 p.m. Eastern and 4 p.m. Eastern, in the Brickyard 400 at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. Cup Series had a practice session at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, full 50 minutes today, and so did the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, actually. All truck on-track activity took place today between practice, qualifying, and now the race, and the same goes for ARCA as they had their turn at IRP as well. Doubleheader at both IRP this weekend between ARCA through the Cup Series of those top 4 regional series in NASCAR, and then you got 2 on the big oval 2.5-mile Brickyard at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Saturday and Sunday. O'Reilly qualifying tomorrow morning, leading in with Cup qualifying immediately after, and then the O'Reilly race. Top 10 in the running order after 10 laps. Lane Riggs out in front by about 1.5 seconds over Christian Eckes. Chandler Smith in third with Caden Honeycutt fourth and Nick Sanchez in 5th place. His teammate Connor Mosack at 6th with Ty Majeski 7th, Stuart Friesen 8th, Andres Perez 9th, and Grant Enfinger rounding out the top 10. Lots of racing, but 200 laps on a short track. Very, very quick race.
Early in the run and late in the run, so you can head and make the perfect changes.
44 truck of Perez trying to make some moves on Grant. Grant's not had the best start to this race, but it looks like the truck's working well on the bottom. Some change a bit too as they get the heated tires and they begin to wear a little bit. We saw a considerable amount of the tires in practice earlier today, Regan.
Yeah, Michael, we were seeing some pretty large fall off early on in runs, up to a second, 15 to 20 laps into the run, and this track's going to go through a lot of cycles as well. We just had the Menard Series race on the racetrack before the Craftsman truck race here. Different rubber with those cars, so they got to burn some of that off. And you see that the sun is setting, and that's going to be a big key. As that sun sets, do you make the right changes for that, or is your truck already where you want it to be for when that sun sets?
And a big welcome to the Truck Series for Gavin Moschel. In that one truck, got his way around Tanner Gray. This kid is 18 years old, and Jamie started racing when he was 3.5 at Millbridge Speedway. And I remember being out there a couple years ago watching these kids.
3.5 years old and a quarter midget. I didn't get my first laps in a quarter midget until I was 6, and I think that was pretty young, especially at the time, too. But I wasn't racing when I was 6. I didn't start actually racing in quarter midget until I was 8. So 3.5, that is wild. He's already got 5 top 5s in the ARCA season this year for the tracks that he has been allowed to run, of course, at 16 years of age, only able to run short tracks and road courses. 18 years of age now, as he makes his Truck Series debut here tonight. He'll be, again, in that one truck for Tricon Garage. Qualified middle of the pack, and we'll see if he can impress. Our current race leader, in fact, Lane Riggs, made his Truck Series debut right here at IRP a few years ago, and he finished 3rd place in his truck debut. Landed him a full-time ride, and now leading the Truck Series points in his 3rd full-time season in the series, and trying to take that next step forward to getting that first career championship. Cade Honeycutt got a slip to the outside of Chandler Smith in a battle for 3rd place. Smith was holding him up a little bit. Best way to try to make this pass is definitely going to be if you can get to the right rear. Get more of a straight line exit speed. You get down on the bottom and a truck maybe pinches you off a little bit more. Corner entry, center of the corner. It keeps you from being able to get back to the gas as soon as you would like. Honeycutt maybe taking a little extra time to try to complete this pass on Chandler Smith. Got extraordinarily close to the wall in turns 3 and 4 the last time by, but it worked because he had a heck of amount of straightaway speed. Cleared Chandler Smith by the time they got into the braking zone back down in turn 1. 20 laps complete for Lane Riggs, out in front by about 1.8 seconds over Christian Eckes. A 4.7 second lead over the now new 3rd place driver of Caden Honeycutt. And a full screen commercial break on Fox Sports 1 for those of you watching live there. Our flag-to-flag coverage continues of the TSport 200. You're listening live on KRC. Yep, final race on TNT this weekend for the NASCAR Cup Series of their 5-race slate. And it'll be USA Network / NBC Sports for the rest of the season. So I thought the Prime Video portion of the schedule flew by, but I'd honestly say the TNT portion felt like it flew by a lot faster for me personally. I feel like the last 5 weeks have been quicker than the 5 weeks before that, for whatever reason. Final off week of the NASCAR Cup Series season going to be coming next weekend as well. Following a crown jewel event with the Brickyard 400 at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway on Sunday afternoon. All 3 series going to be off next weekend. Not like when the Cup Series had off for Easter weekend and the Truck and O'Reilly Series were in Rockingham on that Friday and Saturday. Nope, here they are all going to be off one last time. Truck Series is going to have a few more off weeks the rest of the year after this coming week. I believe the O'Reilly Series has a couple weeks off as well yet. But last one for Cup, of course, the longest season of the 3, and they don't get as much off time. On the grind for a long period, and going to be down to the final 4 races of the regular season after this weekend at Indy. Because our live leaderboard's not working, I'm not really able to see if there was any passes up at the front of the leaderboard during the current commercial break on Fox Sports 1. Still caution-free, though. We can see that much on our screens. 25 laps complete. Almost halfway through stage 1 already. Big racing state is Indiana. A lot of dirt car racing, open wheel, of course, on the IndyCar ranks with the Indy 500. NASCAR starting to come to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway back in the early 90s. A couple years on the road course layout, and obviously the Truck Series here at IRP has had a long mainstay. Left for a few years and then came back to it again. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series had several races here as well back in the late 90s, early 2000s. Before getting their chance at the big oval at Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the early 2010s. Honeycutt still battling with Chandler Smith for third. He hasn't pulled away from him during that commercial break despite making the pass pretty cleanly several laps beforehand. Some other passes up inside the top 10. Connor Mosack is now up into the top 5 to 5th, getting by Nick Sanchez, and Ty Majeski also passed Sanchez for 6th. They're nose to tail right now with the 88 just in front of the 77. But I believe that was pretty much it as far as passes at the front of the pack. I think Chandler Smith's been taking dives down to the bottom of the track, trying to get back by Caden Honeycutt. I saw the leaderboard kind of flip-flop between the two positions there for just a split second. Obviously, Chandler Smith was not able to complete a pass. Quite a bit of lap traffic around that battle for third as well that continues to go back and forth between Smith and Honeycutt. Halfway through stage one this time by 170 laps to go out of a 200-lap race. The lead for Layton Riggs is about 2.8 to 2.9 seconds over Christian Eckes, and a 5.5 second gap, nearly a 6-second lead now over Honeycutt to third. 6.1 seconds off the lead, Chandler Smith in fourth. Still vote for who you think is going to win tonight's race in our chat poll. Again, that will remain open until the end of stage 2. Per usual with these live commentary streams across each of the top 3 series. Lane Riggs the favorite to win via the chat poll at 38% of the votes. 21% of you taking Caden Honeycutt. And only 8% with Ty Majeski. That's dropped a bit since the last time we checked the poll in the pre-race. 33% of you say somebody other than those 3 will win. So pretty tight between other and Lane Riggs for the top battle. Supposed to go to Cedar Point with friends, toilet flooded, parents' apartment room. That's tough. I know what that feels like, unfortunately. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Hopefully you can get back soon. Billy Kramer, welcome to the stream. Robert Goodrich, welcome in. $25 laps to go in stage number 1. See, I wish the live leaderboard was working so that way I could see some of the lap time fall off from the start of the race to where we're at this point in the run being caution-free. I mean, you could feel the lap times being slower at this point in the run without even having to look at it. And Riggs has lapped quite a few trucks already, too. I mean, he's almost up to the 20th place truck, Jake Garcia. It's like Connor Daly in 25th about to go a lap down. Chandler Smith through lap traffic, able to get back by Caden Honeycutt for third. Connor Mosack in the 7 now looking for 4th place all the way down to the apron. Honeycutt in the middle with a lap truck to the outside. And Mosack got to get to the inside of Honeycutt, down the backstretch and into turn 3. 11 truck doesn't seem like he's really rotating the bottom of the track well. Has to search for speed up in that middle to upper groove. But the longer the run goes out, it seems like those trucks that are down on the yellow line or just below it are the ones making headway through the pack as the tires fall off. Mosack does complete the pass on Honeycutt. Took him a couple corners to complete it. But he is ahead now. A 4-second gap between the second and third place trucks alone. Eckes and Smith. Pretty quietly, that initial start, Christian Eckes was able to jump into second ahead of one of the two front row motorsport Fords. He just can't catch the guy dominating this early going to the race, Lane Riggs. 25, 25, 100? Not today. 60, 60, 80 for 200 laps in the truck race tonight. Short track at IRP. 100 lap short track race, that'd be way too fast. I mean, this race would be about half over already, and we're only 16 minutes in. That'd be a little too quick. That'd be like one fuel run. They wouldn't even have to pit for fuel. Considering the stages would probably have pit stops still because of the tire wear, but Majeski now has caught Caden Honeycutt for 5th place. Majeski on the inside looking for one of his better runs. Had an off week last week and what has been a very up and down season. Doesn't have 2 races together, whether that be 2 bad races in a row or 2 good races in a row. So with last week being bad, I think he'll have a good week this week. He's a multi-time winner at IRP in the Craftsman Truck Series, and he's won on short tracks in 5 of his 6 Truck Series career wins. Coming on the short track ranks. Including, of course, the championship a couple years ago in Phoenix, winning the race and the title that night. Down into the closing laps of stage number 1. Go back through the top 5 again when they do come back from commercial. If you're just tuning in for the first time, wondering who's on top of the leaderboard right now, I apologize that the raw feed on NASCAR.com has been down since the start of the stream. Backing out of the page completely, seeing if it's back up and running. There we go. Now it's running. Well, that's good to see. So there you have it. 47 laps in. Lane Riggs has led them all. 3.3 seconds his advantage over Christian Eckes in second. Now 6.1 seconds to the third place truck Chandler Smith. Connor Mosack in fourth. 6.9 seconds out of the lead. And Ty Majeski 8.5 seconds back. Rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Caden Honeycutt is 10.1 seconds back in 6th. Nick Sanchez in 7th is 10.5 seconds off the lead. Grant Edfinger in 8th, 12.1 back. Stuart Friesen in 9th is 14.5 back. And Andres Perez 16.2 seconds off the lead, rounding out the top 10. Most positions gained from the start of the race. 4 spots for Ty Majeski, so he's definitely on the move. Maybe looking for his potential first win in a couple seasons in the trucks. Ruggiero up 4 spots. Nobody up any more than 4 positions, though. 3 drivers up 4 spots. -5 for Dawson Sutton. -4 for Jake Garcia, who came in right around that chase bubble. Stuart Friesen losing 4 spots, as well as Nick Sanchez, though they're still both in the top 10. Trying to hang on for even just a few stage points, better than nothing. That's added track position coming into those live pit stops at the end of stage 1. So despite this technically being a standalone event like Lime Rock was, all the pit crews in the Indianapolis area, so despite not being at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway specifically, here at IRP, all of these truck teams do have the regular Cup Series pit crews, so we will still have live pit stops tonight. So no 5-minute red flag period during the stage breaks themselves. Showed a replay from a few laps ago. Our race leader, Lane Riggs, making slight contact with some lap traffic, held him up a bit, and the lead has been cut down to about 2.5 seconds after the fact. The Riggs' truck still looks fine and doesn't look like he really abused the tires much in that slight slide. Got to be careful not to do that too much, though. then you can start to run into some grip level issues. Or at worst, maybe you have a tire going down. That'd be the worst thing that could happen. Riggs is actually trying to work by, I believe, Ben Rhodes in the 99. And it is. Riggs down on the inside of the 20th place truck, Ben Rhodes. And Riggs is clear off turn 4 with 8 laps to go in the stage. And now the two-time Truck Series champion, again, is now longer on the lead lap. Riggs has been a bottom feeder every step of the way. He's on the apron with all 4 tires as close to the grass as possible. I'm not really seeing many drivers run the bottom lane of the racetrack that isn't that low in the track. If you're running the bottom around this place, it does seem like all 4 tires down below the yellow line, if he can get it to stick, that has been the quickest way, which is also the shortest way. I just think the apron might not be used over the years quite as much as the traditional racing asphalt. Therefore, could be a little bit more grip on the apron with all 4 tires versus what you would have either on or slightly above the yellow line at the bottom of the track at both ends. Upset win at Lime Rock for Grant Enfinger a couple weeks ago, and he's trying to desperately hold on for position after just getting by Honeycutt and Sanchez recently. Enfinger is up to 6th place. And he comes in 9th in points despite having that win. He is very close to the chase cut line as well. 5 laps to go in stage number 2. Stage 1, sorry. Eckes has cut into the lead just a little bit more on the 34 of Lane Riggs. A 3.5 second gap, still pretty manageable and sizable deficit for Eckes. But hey, it's second place stage points, and maybe something goes right in the race off of pit road where he can win it. Maybe Lane Riggs loses a couple spots, gets him in traffic. On the restart, we'll go from there. Eckes did a fantastic job getting up to second, getting by those front couple of cars from the 4th place starting spot. Made it look easy. Not as easy as Lane Riggs is making it look tonight. Honeycutt is battling a very loose race truck. Back end of his truck, right rear specifically, yawed out towards the wall off turn 4 the last time by. And through turns 1 and 2, he's just going to try to run his normal line. Get out of the stage with a victory. Lane Riggs going to put the rookie making his debut in the number 1 a lap down, Gavin Bushell, who was in the 15th place position. So in a 60-lap opening stage, Lane Riggs leads every lap from the pole. And en route to doing so, only 14 trucks will finish on the lead lap at the end of the first stage, which also does go caution-free. So no incidents to record tonight, about 25 minutes to get the first stage in. So Lane Riggs, pole sitter, stage 1 winner, adding on to that regular season points lead and looking closer and closer to trying to clinch that title in the coming weeks. Riggs finishing first in the stage, Christian Eckes second, Chandler Smith in 3rd, Connor Mosack 4th, and Ty Majeski rounding out the top 5 in 5th. Grant Enfinger in 6th. Nick Sanchez 7th, Caden Honeycutt 8th, Stuart Friesen 9th, and Parker Eatman round out the top 10. Eatman getting that final stage point, again, 1 point per position as well. First pit stops of the race going to be coming up here with our first caution finally taking place. A chance for these teams to make their much needed adjustments. And we'll have those pit reports coming for you shortly. In the meantime, we'll take another break here. You're listening live on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of the TSport 200 at IRP.
Best deal ever for just.
Thought they were going to be coming back from commercial there for a second. Little did I know, after the NHRA commercial, we were going to get a Domino's commercial. Maybe after this one. We could all hope. Probably not. I'm not going to get my hopes up again. So dominant first stage for Lane Riggs. I mean, I haven't noticed anybody working themselves through the field at a rapid enough pace for me to believe that Riggs isn't the fastest truck. Like having the track position huge, he's usually a pretty solid qualifier as well. Tends to start up at the front more often than not. That was kind of a disadvantage for him there early in his truck career, but obviously as he's got more experience, qualifying has gotten much, much better. Nan Martin, thanks for tuning in. Going for Chandler Smith to go for back-to-back.
Do you feel like you don't need to follow that system anymore? Like
It just doesn't seem like it's necessary. I think you can do. When we talked to Corey Heim a couple weeks ago, it was interesting. He's like, I don't really think one or the other is better. I think that it's just whatever you have the opportunity to do before you and get the proper seat time and learn the things that you need to learn from a racing standpoint to be able to go to the next level.
Sports digital shows with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Poe. Subscribe to Speed on Fox on YouTube, Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
That's why I love our trucks. These kids, like Gavin Bochelle, show up at 18 years old, like Corey Heim did out of nowhere a few years back. And you just see right away, they've learned this stuff. Whether you started at 3.5 years old like Gavin did, or whatever your history or background is you here, you've proven that you belong here. And it's fun to get to see them first here in the trucks.
You know who else has proven that they belong here? Chandler Smith. And guess what? He's highlighted in yellow. That means he has officially locked himself into the chase. So we have 3 drivers that we know will be racing for a championship.
We're going to open the pits and make those adjustments and see if anybody can figure out what the heck Lane Riggs is doing. Maybe they can get on the Lane train.
I know one truck that doesn't need any. I hope they don't make any to that 34.
The road is open. They'll be filling up with Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol. They're coming your way, Josh.
Let's start with one of the biggest movers on the day, and Ty Majeski said that truck started tight and then swung the other way, got super loose towards the end of the run. He said, I just need more lateral in this truck. They're going to make a track bar adjustment and air pressure. And I told him, do not speed. Amanda?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to take a look at Christian Eckes pulling to his pit box, guys. This is going to be a long stop. I'm hearing that they're going to have to make a battery change, which is going to be in the left rear of that truck. You're going to see the team go there. They're having voltage issues. It was down to 10.9 for contacts. They want that around 14, so the team has elected to go ahead and change that battery as they get over to that side. And for Lane Riggs, the guy that's just been ripping traffic, and it's been so fun listening to his spotter count him through it. He said, no changes, guys, and he's off. Well, you heard it. No changes for that 34 truck. He didn't need anything. But Eckes, that was interesting. They were having issues, but it didn't look like they got that battery changed. They
Definitely no better. Regan would have lost his mind if they'd make things, but
that
I can't do it.
back for stage 2.
Now, all the bad luck that Ty Majeski has had, I don't think he can afford to have a battery change this weekend because I don't think he would have the speed to help compromise it, and you would hate to give up top 5, top 6 track position that he's worked so hard for so far this evening. So, Lane Riggs, stage 1 winner, dominating fashion. He's led every lap of the race so far. He's the series points leader. He's been the guy to beat for most of the season, and that's the case again here tonight. Not only Lane Riggs has been hitting his stride in the summer months, but as we get into the chase, when Cup Series drivers can't run in the Trucker O'Reilly races once the chases in those respected series begin, then you also got to put into perspective that Corey Heim's probably not going to be running as many more races the rest of the season in the Truck Series, since now he's going to be going full-time Cup next season, and that has already been announced. He's only got select more starts here. That's giving more opportunity for a driver like Lane Riggs, who has been the best driver, obviously, of the Truck Series field all season, to go out there and try to get more wins. And if he can stack more wins, he can put himself in a very good possibility of winning the championship, of course, when we come chase time. He's already closing in on the regular season championship. He expanded his lead quite a bit after last weekend's race, despite not winning, but having a pretty solid performance in all three stages over Caden Honeycutt. And here tonight, if he can go on and win the race, he could be over a race worth of points ahead of second place with just 2 races to go. Honeycutt was slipping back throughout the course of that first stage, and he'll be in the back half of the top 10 for the restart as we begin stage number 2. So in the race off of pit road, Lane Riggs will be out in front with Christian Eckes in second, Chandler Smith third, Connor Mosack fourth, Grant Enfinger fifth, and Ty Majeski in sixth. Nick Sanchez seventh, Caden Honeycutt eighth, Stuart Friesen ninth, and Gio Ruggiero in 10th, with Andres Perez 11th and Michael Christopher Jr. in 12th.
Park, and what a gorgeous night. Packed crowd. And how about this? Looking forward to next year, boys. Let's run it back.
Yeah.
St. Pete, Lane Riggs. He loved that place.
What a great event that was, though. Just so fun sharing the track with the IndyCar guys. Just a wonderful weekend.
See it right there, March 5th through 7th. Truckers will race on Saturday, and the IndyCar Series will kick off their season on Sunday. And speaking of IndyCar, we have some special guests in the house, and they're standing by with Josh.
That's right, and you love when 2 worlds collide. We got the 4-time IndyCar champ and the Indianapolis 500 champ in 2025, Alex Mallow here. Jack Harvey, of course, who does pit road on the IndyCar side and likes to hop back in the car, as well as our man Kevin Lee, who's on pit road as well. But you guys are here to support Connor Daly. So what's it like to be a part of this and support your guy?
100%. Yeah, we're pulling for Connor. He's doing great, man. He's getting there. He's running that high lane. Pulling for him. But honestly, very fun experience. My first ever time here at the IRP. Just incredible to see so many fans. Very loud cars. But I love it. I'm having a great time pulling for that 25. Hopefully, Connor gets a top 10. I think he can get a top 10.
I don't know. Bit of full representation here, man. You like this?
I'm a Jack and Alex in one of these. Let's get the truck here. What's it going to take to get you guys out here in one of these trucks?
Okay, I'm happy to do it. We were just talking about the booties that we would need, and then we both wobbled a little bit, but if there's an opportunity, we'll do it.
I would love to test. I would love to test one of these beasts. It's very different to what we do. I think I would struggle a lot, but I would give it a go on a test day for sure.
There we go. We're going to hold you to it. You love how he said the booties and they wobbled a little bit. Jamie, you could translate what that means on the IndyCar side of things. I don't know, but fellas, we appreciate you having you guys out here.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Sorry.
Yes, booties aren't part of their getup. So they're learning the vernacular down there on pit road. Love to see Alex Palou. That is a generational talent. Absolutely incredible. Happy to see him taking in a little NASCAR. And Christian Eckes, Amanda, you talked about it. He's back in his box.
Oh.
Yeah, but you're not going to see them at that left rear. You're going to see them pop the hood. Now they're smelling some oil, is what Christian said. The team's wondering if it could be the power steering by chance. But on the battery issue, David Ellis decided not to. They didn't want to go down 2 laps. Told him to turn off all the brake fans and any other driver comfort. But yeah, guys, now they're chasing another issue.
Oh, what a heartbreaker, guys. He was running second.
Yep.
Wow.
And I think the battery issue, much rather have that than what they're dealing with right now. Obviously, we saw that smoke coming out of the back of that truck. So Hopefully they can find, whatever it is leaking from, and it's a quick fix, but definitely not a good sign for a team that was having a great start to the race.
Gavin Bichelle got the free pass. Four truckers took the wave around. See, Eckes makes his way back out onto the track as we get ready to go back to green here for the start of stage number 2. Did anybody make the right adjustments that will be good enough to run with the 34? Lane Riggs just been lights out tonight. His teammate restart.
We'll have to see. Stage 2 underway. Green flag is back in the air. 49 laps left in Stage 2. Ran about 11 of them under caution from the Lab 60 Stage 1 end. Battle for the lead between Chandler Smith and Lane Riggs. And Chandler Smith from the inside of row 1 slides up in front of his teammate. Takes the lead for the first time today. So Riggs will not be out in front. At least for one lap. Second lap after the restart, though, Riggs gets to the inside and is already looking to get the lead back. Fanning out a lot of 3-wide racing in the back half and just outside of the top 10, a little bit deeper in the field. Riggs nose to nose nearly with his teammate up out of turn 4, but lost a little bit of that rear security. Slingshot move with a slide job down on the other end through 1 and 2. Didn't think he was going to have enough straightaway speed to pull that off, but well deeper into the braking zone was Lane Riggs. And he jumps out in front of the 38 again. So Chandler Smith faded just a little bit in the early going of the run back in Stage 1, and then longer the laps went, his truck got a little bit better, got back to 3rd after falling back to about 4th or 5th initially. And now in 2nd after leading the first lap under green of Stage 2, after Christian Eckes, who was in 2nd at the end of the first stage, having some potential power steering problems. He was back on pit road for a lengthy period of time. And I believe he is back out on the racetrack right now, but unfortunately 5 laps down is Christian Eckes. So Frankie Muniz ended up taking the wave around, and then Corey LaJoy also took the wave around. Gavin Bichelle would have been the 15th place car, first truck 1 lap down when the caution came out initially. He got the free pass. So some of these drivers who took the wave around trying to hope for a quick caution on those older tires. Trying to leapfrog some other positions in that running order. It's quite the leap for Frankie Muniz. I mean, that's about a 15-spot gain if he can get a quick caution. And he'll be able to make it on fuel to the end of Stage 2. It's just with the tires the way they are, will they last all the way for 120 laps around this surface? And I believe each of these teams has 1 extra set of tires. That meaning they could pit at the end of Stage 2, still have a set left to use at any point in the final stage if we were to catch any incidental caution. So far, that has not been the case, though, through 80 laps out of 200. And this race is clicking by in a hurry. Chandler Smith led for 2 laps. 1 initially on the restart, getting to the green because he had a great jump out of the restart zone versus his teammate. Then he was actually able to leave the first green flag lap of the stage, and the Riggs got back by him with the slide job at turns 1 and 2 the lap after. Christian Eckes back down to the pits again, and this time they are looking underneath the right rear of that race truck, so something is obviously wrong for the 91 of Christian Eckes. Came into the night 4th in points, finished 2nd in Stage 1. And if we thought anybody had a shot to beat the Front Row Motorsport Fords tonight of Chandler Smith and Lane Riggs, maybe it was going to be Christian Eckes. Eckes has a handful of short track victories in this series, though it's been a couple seasons since running full time in the number 19 at McAnally Racing. Now back full-time in the 91 with Hemrick in the 19 truck for the 2nd consecutive season. Hemrick getting 2 wins last year in his first truck season. After running in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for some time. Season of Cup as well for Hemrick, Rookie of the Year back in 2019. And they did just push the 91 truck back to the garage area a couple laps ago. So it looks like the night will be over for Christian Eckes. And he is the first retiree from the race. Jackson Masenko, who was a little bit slow on the racetrack a couple laps after Christian Eckes had his deal, was able to limp his truck back into the pit lane, so we do stay green. Wasn't sure if he was going to stall out on the inside of the racetrack or not, and he didn't. So we're almost halfway through stage 2. We'll go through the full field running order right now. Lane Riggs leads with Chandler Smith in second, Connor Mosak third, Grant Enfinger fourth, and Ty Majeski rounding out the top 5 in fifth. Nick Sanchez in sixth, Stuart Freeze in seventh, Caden Honeycutt in eighth, Michael Christopher Jr. in ninth with a pretty solid run, and Gio Ruggiero rounding out the top 10. Andres Perez in 11th, Tyler Anker 12th, Parker Eatman 13th, Gavin Bushell 14th, Corey LaJoy 15th, and Frankie Muniz in 16th. First truck a lap down, Landon Lewis in 18th, Daniel Hemrick 19th, and Brendan Queen 20th. Jake Garcia 21st, Ben Rhodes 22nd, Harrison Burton 23rd, Dawson Sutton 24th, Timmy Hill 25th, Justin Haley 26th, Cole Butcher 27th, Tanner Gray 28th, Connor Daly 29th, and Tony Breidinger in 30th, with Minnie Tyrell 31st, Spencer Boyd 32nd, Chris Wright 33rd, Kisten Everidge in 34th, Jackson Masenko in 35th, and Christian Eckes 36th out of 36 trucks. 1.4 second lead for Lane Riggs over his teammate Chandler Smith. 85 of 87 completed laps led here tonight for Riggs. Connor Mosak jumping up to third during this green flag run, though. Pretty solid for him. Race high for the 7 truck tonight. And Grant Enfinger up to fourth. Snuck away with an upset win on a road course. First road course win of his career at Lime Rock just a couple of weeks ago. Kind of a war of attrition race. Saw a lot of carnage in that one, but Enfinger was able to outlast the field. A couple of the favorites both taking each other out. Early in stage 3, Enfinger not only survived, but had a decent day going for him, enough so he was put him in the best position possible in that final restart to go get the win, and of course he got it. Backing that up with a good top 5 run here tonight. As he's still right around that chase bubble, 9th in points entering the evening, he is by no means a lock. Again, the only 2 drivers locked into the chase out of 10 possible spots are Caden Honeycutt and Lane Riggs, top 2 in points. Chandler Smith should be able to lock himself in if he runs as good as he's done so far tonight through the final 2 stages. Still top 5 for Chandler Smith back at stage 1 and obviously second at the moment. Yeah, not just the fact that Lane Riggs has been the best driver this season, but Front Row Motorsports just being the fastest team in general. With Chandler Smith getting 2 wins on the year, Riggs with 4, and these 2 running 1-2 again here tonight late in the regular season. It started off very strong for Front Row. Chandler Smith won the season opener at Daytona. Had the points lead for the first several races this season up until Caden Honeycutt was able to take it away for a few races. And then back to Lane Riggs. Now Chandler Smith is fastly approaching Honeycutt to get up into second in the standings, as I think that 11 team has fallen off just a bit from where they were for the first third of the season. 7 laps shy of halfway. And again, lap 120 will be the end of stage 2 and the last chance to vote for who you think will win tonight's race at IRP. Between Lane Riggs, Ty Majeski, Caden Honeycutt, or somebody other than those 3, 44% have other. 29% taking Riggs, Caden Honeycutt at 15%, and 12% of you taking Ty Majeski. 34 votes total have been claimed. Wayne Martin, thanks for tuning in. Shout outs to anybody else watching here in tonight's stream as well.
That's all good. It's like a shock revolution. Patience. Unmistakable. Free. Run, kick ass, all American, full throttle weekend. It's place for those to things. Get. Celebration. Are free.
Yep, August 9th on Fox, the stars of IndyCar going full throttle. They look to chase down Alex Palou in Portland. That's August 9th, only on Fox. Alex Palou, just heard from him, four-time champion, looking like he's well on his way to a fifth championship. Got the win on Monday. They got rained out last weekend in Nashville, raced on Monday morning. And of course, we have Freedom 250 coming up in Washington, D.C. on August 23rd. That's going to be a big one. Excited to be part of that.
Tyler Ankram's put his truck inside the top 10.
And that's somebody we're watching, Michael, because he missed out on any points in stage one, and he needed those right now as they run. He's on the outside looking in for the chase because the 52 of Friesman's having a good night, picked up those points. Let's get an update on Ankrum. Josh.
Yeah, Jimmy, I talked to Tyler Ankrum right after qualifying, and you could tell the frustration he was feeling at this point. The last two races, he's lost 23 points to the cut line, and after practice, just didn't feel like they had the truck they needed. I asked him, what was the issue you were dealing with in practice? And he said, simply, it was everything. The frustration building because he feels like he's been with this team for another year. They were so good last year, one of the teams that made it to the championship floor, but this year they have just struggled, especially as of late. But this has been a good track for him. Short tracks have been really good for him, and they've gotten that truck a lot better to the point where they're battling inside the top 10. They can continue to chip away and dial that truck in. It's something that can get him from good points there because he needs it, like you mentioned, JP. But the frustration is starting to go away a little bit as they're getting that truck better in this race.
You know, this whole McAnally Hogan team this year has been a little confusion. They showed a lot of speed at times, have been off at times, but steady. They're able to keep pushing along. Christian Eckes has been the fastest he has trophies tonight. Be interested to see how Tyler can continue to rally. He's better now than he's been all night long. His lap times are looking really competitive in that 18 truck.
Yeah, and I think some of that frustration builds when you're hemorrhaging points and you feel like he's below the chase cut right now. He sees Stuart Friesen in front of him tonight, gaining points, and so far in the first stage, potentially in the second stage here. And as we see the 62 of Stuart Friesen's teammate there, Michael Christopher, trying to get to the outside of Caden Honeycutt, and he talked about, we saw him talking earlier, and we talked about the fact that he skipped going to a modified race this weekend. That appears to be the right decision right now. He's doing a great job.
Battle for eighth here. Unbelievable. His third start, he's battling Caden Honeycutt, who's been, the top two teams this entire season. Got a win earlier in the year. He got him.
This was about the stage that we saw Caden Honeycutt really in stage one, about this lap markers, about when he started to really struggle. And here's that's happening again right now. Just a lot of movement, you see his hands all over the place on corner exit. He's just doing everything he can to try and make speed with the 11 right now.
Landon Lewis, he's currently in the free pass position. We talk about him in that 45 truck just being steady and consistent and marching his way forward. Well, he decided to pit under that last caution. We had some wave arounds. He's now worked his way into the free pass position, and he's got a bit of a gap between the leader and Parker Eatman, who's running in 14th. He'd be the next truck to go a lap down. I don't think they're going to quite get to Parker, so the patient call, get the tires. We think it'll go green. We're going to get the free pass eventually because we got a good truck, and this truck has improved dramatically as the night has gone on.
And equally so, that was the right call for Landon Lewis. It was also the right call for the guys that stayed out and did pit and took the wave around right there. Guys like Corey LaJoy to try and take that chance, and they're actually running ahead of where they would be. Corey LaJoy running 18th right now, so that's working out for him as well. It's fun when you can see two different strategies play out for guys, and I know it's not, maybe quite as appealing when we're talking about guys either trying to get a free pass or stay on the lead lap, but it still is a big part of each of their individual races.
There you see the 91 Christian Eckes has made his way back on the track, passing trucks, of course. His tires are fresher. See if he can't pick up some spots.
And it's all about points at this time. 33 laps down, but people always ask us, why would they come back out when there's so many laps down? Because they can salvage their night, maybe get a couple of points, even one extra point. That could be the difference. Once that 3 races before the chase is done, that could be the deal breaker.
We've seen it so many times that, right, Jamie, 1 point here or there can definitely affect a total end of the season, scenario, and also an opportunity to go learn. Right, we're likely going to be in Indianapolis Raceway Park again next year, so keep building on that notebook. Amanda, what'd you find out on Christian Eckes?
Yeah, unfortunately, we're told it was an alternator issue. Regan, I know you were talking about that. Just looking at the team, they just seem so downcast from what they started with and how Christian was performing. Gosh, the team wanted this so bad. I know Christian did as well. We did have, I don't know if we had film of the part, but good to see Christian back out there. If there was a never quit award, this team would get it. There were up to 4 crew guys underneath that truck at one point.
Well, we're short track racing this part of the season, so anything they can put together here and learn can help them next race.
Meanwhile, our leader, Lane Riggs, not showing him a lot. 3.7 seconds ahead. A lot of action going on behind him.
There's action all over this little racetrack. Very intense. Timmy Hill there is your 20th place runner. Joyce there as well.
You just got to imagine as Lane Riggs is, catching some of these cars or trucks to lap for the second time and closing in on lapping some guys for the first time right now again as well. I just got me thinking, what's he doing? How was making that work? And much like his teammate Chandler Smith last week, it just the truck is just glued to the racetrack and it can go wherever he wants it to, and it just doesn't look like he's having to overwork it to do that.
This is a very talented young racer. It's so fun to watch him get this opportunity to go out and prove how good he is. A lot of talk around the NASCAR garage area about whether start is in his near future. Those rumors are swirling around. He's just focused on winning a truck championship.
Dylan Capello is crew chief. They have such a dynamic relationship. They've really grown into standout performers. We saw it last year. But he had to deal with Corey Heim in the field. So this year they're doing exactly what we kind of all expected him to do. Come out, win multiple races, dominate these races. That's what he's doing once again tonight. He's led 111 laps so far. 7 laps to go in stage number 2. We've had 1 caution tonight. That was the stage break.
And just ahead, you see that white and orange truck. That's Gio Ruggiero. He's the last truck on the lead lap. 7 to go. This isn't what Landon Lewis wants to see, because I believe Lane is going to get to Gio and take that, put him a lap down, which would then put Gio in the free pass position.
Gio Ruggiero running in the 14th spot.
So much to watch if you're a fan of this sport. Who makes the moves? Who trusts the strategy? How they're able to hang on in the long run? Try to figure out a way to compete with Lane Riggs.
5 laps to go. 5 laps for Gio Ruggiero to try to hang on. It's not going to happen. Lane Riggs to the outside puts Gio a lap down.
Now Gio becomes a big fan of Parker Eatman. Parker's the next truck up ahead that's on the lead lap. So if he doesn't go a lap down, that'll put Gio back on the lead lap. Look at that run. 4 wide? Well, that's...
It's a battle for second right there. Connor Mosak in the 7 truck just takes that position away from Chandler Smith.
That's a strong move. Worked it beautifully through that traffic.
7 and 38 on the inside, 4 position. The others are lap truck.
This is just an absolute mess right through here as they're battling through the lap traffic and trying to get this figured out right now, Michael. And that is the beauty of this track. You can do that. You can find places to go, and they clearly showed us that.
That's exactly right. And it's fun to watch. That's why these stands are packed, and the vibe is always so energetic around this little 3/4 mile track.
Guys, Corey LaJoy in the 10, he is hanging on for dear life. He did not pit. He's got those old tires.
He needs some poet fuel too.
He does. He's back in 21st right now, 2 laps down.
Harrison first, going the second lap down.
That is surprising.
Yes.
Didn't expect to see that tonight.
Well, he hasn't been
Shout
in the
out to
truck
his young teammate Gavin Bichelle. He's up
probably
to
a couple
12th
years
in
at least.
the lead lap. This is a wonderful debut for that young man.
Stage number 2. Lane Riggs.
Come on, man. Let me have something here.
Slicing and dicing. Green and white checker flag in the air. Lane Riggs wins the stage. Won both stages tonight. Continues his domination here. What a night it has been. 118 laps led by that young man right there. When we come back, we'll have pit stops. It'll be the last opportunity, perhaps, to make those adjustments.
Last scheduled pit stop, at least for the end of the race. I can make it on fuel from here to the finish. 80 laps in the final stage as we finished 120 out of 200 so far tonight. And Lane Riggs dominating from the pole, leading all but 2 of the 120 laps through stages 1 and 2 combined. And our only cautions so far have been the stage yellows. Pretty clean and green so far. Still less than an hour into the race as we wrap up our first 2 stages. Lane Riggs, again, the stage 2 win, just as he was for stage 1. Connor Mosak moving up to second, though. Chandler Smith in third. Grant Enfinger fourth. And Ty Majeski finishes out the top 5 in fifth. Nick Sanchez in sixth. Stuart Freeze in seventh. Michael Christopher Jr. in eighth. Peyton Honeycutt ninth. And Tyler Ankrum rounding out the top 10. Good points nights tonight for both Friesen and Ankrum. They were tied at the chase cutoff, 10th and 11th in points entering, and they've scored stage points here this evening. Friesen in both stages after qualifying up in the top 5. Having that track position definitely helping him out there. So we'll take a quick break here while we're at the stage 2 break and continue to listen on live as this race flying by, but we'll be here to the very end. Update again, you can check in the community tab for the starting times for the streams for the rest of the weekend, but I will reiterate, just as I had at the start of the stream, that we will be live 2 times tomorrow, starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with Brickyard 400 qualifying for the NASCAR Cup Series. They had a full 50-minute practice session today, so that'll be a pretty quick stream. It's going to be just qualifying tomorrow with no practice, 1:30 p.m. Eastern on the channel. We'll be live also for the NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday afternoon with the Brickyard 400. Same start time as the qualifying tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll go live for a pre-race. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series racing at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway as well, the big 2.5-mile oval. They will be racing tomorrow afternoon, and the start time there, 4 p.m. Eastern. Well, job has been done on the racetrack for Lane Riggs. Now he's got to make sure he doesn't make a mistake on pit road, and same for his pit crew as we get into potentially the final pit stops of the night.
Raced on CW. Let's say the high-speed action continues with the stars of the Cup Series. Crown Jewel is on the line. Who will prevail? See it at 2 Eastern, only on TNT. And we welcome you back here to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Jamie Little, Michael Waltrip, Regan Smith, Josh Sims, and Amanda Busick with you. It is a gorgeous night. Doesn't get better for racing under the lights. A little short track Friday night action.
I like what you're saying, Jamie.
Stage points so far, and Lane Riggs likes what he's been seeing. He has maximized winning both stages for 20 points. Parker Eatman down there getting 1 point. That's a big deal for that young man making his 3rd career start.
Yeah, and those 9 stage points for stage 1 for Christian Eckes is a huge deal.
Yeah, even more important with the problems that they had at the end of stage 1 there, after the pit stop and found out about the alternator issues. And I see Stuart Friesen 6 points, came into this race tied with Tyler Ankrum for that final transfer spot into the chase. That was a great 2 stages for him. I know it's only 6 points, but a little bit of a buffer. And now if he can finish it off,
It goes the wrong way.
into this race, he can maybe not sleep any easier, but at least have those points with him.
It's a money stop, Regan. We think that everything normal. They'll get 4 here, fill her up with fuel, and go to the checker. So you don't want a mistake. You don't want to speed. You don't want to have a problem with the lug nut. This is what it's all about right here. This is why those athletes get paid to do what they do and do it so flawlessly.
Two different leaders tonight. Lane Riggs and Chandler Smith led 2 laps tonight. As they make their way down pit road, they'll be filling up with Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol. Josh.
Well, Chandler Smith with sentiments most of the trucks in the field can relate to said, I'm just struggling overall compared to the 34. I need more lateral bite. I need the front end to be more versatile. I just need a little bit more to get to where that 34 is. So I make some adjustments to try and help them out, Amanda.
Yeah, Josh Connor Bozak racing in that 7 this year. Last year it finished in that 2nd spot with Corey Day, and Brian Patty brought the exact same setup. He finds himself in that P2 position starting this race. 7th today. No changes for the 7 as we move on to Lane Riggs. Regan, there is going to be a small adjustment here. I hate to tell you. Lane was feeling loose on that run, but he sweeps stage 1, sweeps stage 2. Can he do it again? One final stage to go.
His team got it done. Was able to meet the 7 off of pit road, maintain position.
That's just impressive run for Connor Bozak since they started this day. He's been fast all day long. Now he's in a position to try to win a race.
All right, let's see if he can finish the deal. 3rd and final stage is coming up next.
Probably the best run that Connor Mosak has had on an oval in his starts across the top couple of series. Hasn't made a cup start, but he has been part-time in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Tends to run a lot of the road course races in trucks, and putting together an oval run here for Spire Motorsports in the number 7. Got up to 2nd place by the end of stage 2, 2nd in his race out of the pits, so more than likely going to restart on the front row here. Unless he thinks like maybe the outside of row 2 would be better than the inside of row 1, but we did see Chandler Smith take the lead on the inside of row 1 on the last restart, despite the fact it was only for 1 full lap. Riggs has led all but 2, but his teammate led the other 2, so Front Row Motorsports between the 2 trucks alone have led every lap so far this evening. And we shall see if that will stay true. So the race off of pit road, Lane Riggs will be the leader. Connor Mosak now in 2nd. Chandler Smith 3rd. Grant Enfinger 4th. Nick Sanchez 5th. And Ty Majeski 6th. I believe that was the order of the top 6 at the end of stage 2 also. I don't think anything changed there. Riggs' crew is able to take a little bit of time, make the adjustment, not make any mistakes in the pits by taking their time. They had a pretty big gap over Mosak, quite a few lap trucks between the top 2. But despite the fact that having the number 1 pit box on top of it, they almost took too much time. And Riggs actually barely won the race off pit road versus the 7. But he did win it. It doesn't matter by how much. It just matters if you actually did it or not, and he did. So we'll see if he can have a little bit better of a restart this time around. I wonder if he potentially takes the inside of row 1, knowing that he got beat on the outside of row number 1 that last go-around. The one thing that Riggs has to get a little bit better on, because in a late race restart situation, Chandler Smith could have won the race. Had that been the case early in stage 2.
Well, baseball, a lot of racing action. How about my Hoosier State? Absolutely showing off tonight. Beautiful sunset.
Just simply beautiful. Sun setting. The scene is perfect, Regan. But this change, as the sun goes down, it changes back anywhere. It might help someone get some ground on Lane Riggs. Where do you stand on that?
It could, Michael. It could work out that way. With Amanda telling me that they made a small adjustment to that truck and it was just a little bit free, it tells me that they're thinking ahead and they're thinking what we're thinking is how do we stay ahead of this track change that's getting ready to happen? But some different players up there, right? Connor Mozak going to be able to start in second now and maybe have an opportunity to really compare himself to Lane Riggs and see if he can get up there and put a little pressure on him. We haven't seen a lot of pressure on Lane tonight, so that can change what you do.
Well, you remember on the restart for this to start the second stage, Lane had that wobble. He had maybe a gear changing issue that caused him to lead. So got to execute. Got to be perfect here.
Yeah, guys, you're going to see Christian Eckes down here, and I'm happy to report it's not a problem. Actually, Christian's going to be running his own race out there, and they're setting him up for practically a mock qualifying run. The goal right now is to go out there and get the fastest lap so that Eckes can find some points in that fastest lap. I love it. They're running their own race.
That's right, Amanda. It's the fastest lap of the race gets 1 point. So, what do you think of this strategy?
This is fun. I want to see if he does it. The only thing that Lane hasn't won today, if that happens. So,
Chief Dave Allen's always creative there, so I like thinking outside the box.
you guys talked about how important 1 point can be. It's out there. Let's go get it.
70 laps to go here from IRP. It has been all Lane Riggs. Can anybody step up? Connor Mozak is on the
Down to an even 70 laps to go. Lane Riggs does take the outside of row one again. Waits to the end of the restart zone to launch. Catching Connor Mozak a little bit off guard, but Mozak taking the shortest way around the racetrack as close to the grass as he can get on the inside on corner entry. Will not be able to stay with Riggs and in danger of losing second to Chandler Smith, and does. Smith into P2. And Nick Sanchez now lurking to the outside of Mozak through turns 3 and 4 for third. So caution free for incidents in the race as we have gotten within the final 70 laps out of 200. Restarts have been wild, a lot of 2 and 3 wide racing, nearly contact. Landon Lewis to the inside 3 wide. In turns 1 and 2, lost the nose of his race truck, chased it up the racetrack, and nearly making contact with the 2 trucks that were there at the time. Luckily, he was able to kind of get out of that loose battle. Surprised Landon Lewis not having as good of a run tonight. I know this surface is way older, so maybe the drivability of a track here at IRP versus North Wilkesboro, you would have expected to be a little bit different, but short track racers still tend to get it done, and you look at the drivers dominating the race when last week it was Chandler Smith and Lane Riggs, with Smith leading the most laps and Riggs kind of running right there in second behind him. This week the inverse, Riggs has dominated. Chandler Smith's led a couple laps, but it's been the Lane Riggs show for sure. Or as he said on the street course race in San Diego after winning that one a few weeks ago, it's Lane Van Rigsburg. Christian Eckes coming back in again. I think they might be putting their final set of Goodyear tires on, as they're just set to try to get the fastest lap of the race award. And I believe they made up 1 point already on Jackson Masenko, who came into the garage area middle of stage 2. Remember, Eckes had the power steering issue. They have fixed that. They've gotten him back on track. And now trying to run his fastest lap of the race to maybe earn another bonus point. He's 30 laps off of the 34th place truck of Caston Everidge. So unless of anybody else actually falling out of the race itself, he's probably not going to make up another spot. So the only way to make up another point, with it being 1 point per position, is get that fastest lap award. Ty Majeski with a big dive bomb as he looks for fourth on Nick Sanchez in the 77. We got one truck on fire. Landon Lewis has pounded the outside wall. And quite a bit of big flames coming out of both the right front and underneath the hood of his race truck. Our first incident of the evening with about 62 laps to go. And he definitely took a big shot. He's moving around inside the truck right now. And also damage to the 19 of Daniel Hemrick. It looks like a multi-truck incident. here at IRP. Have to wait to get a replay of exactly what happened there. Both those trucks are absolutely destroyed. They're going to be done for the day. Be a couple more points for Christian Eckes to try to pick up. Unfortunately, one of them is his teammate, NB and Hemrick. A battle for the same spot on the racetrack at the same time, unfortunately, is what caused that. Daniel Hemrick with a late dive to try to get to the inside in turn 3, and the truck that he tried to make that move on was already committed to trying to run the bottom, and contact was made. Up the racetrack goes Hemrick. Hard into the wall, and the only way to miss it was to go wide, unfortunately, in the wall himself. Goes Landon Lewis, and I think he got also a piece of the spinning Daniel Hemrick. It's tough to tell from my camera angles exactly who was the driver that ended up making contact with Hemrick. He was trying to make that late dive when Hemrick had just moved down, expecting that truck not to be there, but he was there ultimately, so you definitely got to put the blame on that race team. John Madden explanation. What happened was they didn't turn left correctly. Well, you know what? John Madden is commentating NASCAR. He might say something like that. Quite honestly, it's like drop my water. Good thing it's in a bottle. Cap was on. Yeah, definitely be sure to hit the thumbs up button on the stream if you haven't done so yet. Our goal for tonight's truck race, just 50 likes. Helps the streams out a ton. We're at 35 right now. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content like this every NASCAR race weekend. All 3 series in action in Indianapolis area. Speedway, Indiana at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway the next 2 days with content on the channel across the O'Reilly and Cup Series. Beginning tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with Brickyard 400 qualifying live right here. Again on the channel. Qualifying washed out last weekend. North Wilkesboro, so weren't able to do it. Hopefully the weather stays clear this weekend and get everything in without a hiccup. Looks like we're actually going to be under a red flag period here. It looked like there was quite significant contact with the outside wall between the 19 and the 45, and I wondered how hard they hit it. It also could be just for fluid leaking out on the racetrack, especially with the fire from Lewis in the 45. On top of the world with a top 10 run all of last weekend, top 5 for much of the back half of that race at North Wilkesboro Speedway, only for the next week to get in a pretty violent crash.
It's Raceway Park.
And burst into flames.
Daniel Hemrick and Landon Lewis. NASCAR has brought out the red flag. They have stopped the truckers on the back stretch. Cole Butcher also involved. He was the truck just ahead of the 19 of Hemrick.
Maybe Hemrick and Cole made contact. That's sort of what started.
Daniel was getting ready to commit to try to go to the inside. Cole wasn't expecting Cole Butcher to run the middle to the bottom of the racetrack, and when Cole turned off into the corner, it was late by Daniel Hemrick, and when Cole turned to go to the bottom, it's not enough time for him to react, right? And he tried to stay off of him. Unfortunately, he swapped ends with his truck, and Landon Lewis just, innocent bystander, and those guys were all right there, as we said earlier, in position for that free pass, and you're pushed a little bit more than maybe you want to. You're hoping the caution comes out, and next thing you know, you're...
This point situation tonight has been all over the place with issues from some of those guys that Regan touched base on at the beginning of the show, battling for that chase spot.
You see Daniel Hemrick in 9th. He was 8th in points coming in here, so
Yeah,
that's
and
a big hit.
this is a huge hit for him, right? He was 40 points to the good coming into tonight, and you see right there that that gap is closed up significantly for him. And there's still room to lose a couple more spots here, based on trucks that are on the track with him being off the track. So we'll have to see how it shakes up and who's able to move forward or maybe not move forward of the guys that are behind him. But you just don't want that pressure as we go into Richmond next week, another short track, and as we get down to crunch time here with only these 3 races remaining right now before the chase. He had a good opportunity tonight to leave here and feel like he was pretty well, I know, not locked in by the numbers, but in a pretty good spot, and that's not going to be the case now.
You saw Ty Majeski sitting there. He's just glad everybody's not talking about his up and down roller coaster season. Early's in the top 5, just quietly, just wants to get to the end of this race, have a chance to win it. Put together for the first 2 races in a row. Wow.
Speaking of talking, Michael, weekdays on FS1, Sharp Minds talking everything that matters. Wake Up Barstool, The Herd. First things first. It's sports talk like you've never heard before. That's weekdays on FS1. It's a no-brainer. First things first, those guys have so much fun when they come to the racetrack. They were at the Daytona 500, the Indy 500. They know their racing stuff. They've interviewed every driver. They have a great time with it.
I think that's my favorite part, just the knowledge that they have, the pure enjoyment that they have when they're at the track, no matter where it is, whether it's Daytona, Indy, it makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Wonder
This is not fun.
why we're under red flag.
We're not at a dirt track. We are still at Indianapolis Raceway Park.
Oil was laid down all over this little short track in Indiana, and the safety guys are out there offering up water to some of the competitors if they need a sip.
I mean, kudos to the drivers. You had just mentioned, Michael, about 10 minutes ago that you couldn't believe that they've all kept it straight on these restarts. No incidents tonight until now. With 61 laps to go, the red is out.
Something else that'll be interesting after we get this race back going again. These trucks are going to be on, and I know they started the race on their qualifying tires, but they're going to be on cycled tires here. And what that means is the tires, for the first time all night really got hot and then got cold. And that can sometimes affect the vehicle for guys in a way that they don't expect. And, we'll have to keep an eye on that as it starts to play out, because I wouldn't imagine any of our leaders come to the pit road for any reason right now. So we'll have to see how that materializes.
I think it's interesting, Regan. You're kind of going down my road. The things are changing. The sun's setting. And the temperature's
a little cooler.
Are getting going down a bit. You're talking about the cycled on the tires. We're just sure we cover every race about how someone can possibly do anything with the lane train. It's
Lane train.
impressive performance.
The lane train.
Cinching the lug. I mean, whatever train does.
I'll tell you what, it's 9:40 and it's finally dark in Indianapolis. Everybody that's from the West Coast comes out to Indy to visit. I'm like, I cannot believe how late it stays light here. So we're finally under the lights. Sun has set, cooling off just a bit. It's been mid-70s all day long. Well, there's one guy that's very familiar with the truck series. I want to see him behind the wheel. Raja Karut, let's hear from him, Josh.
Well, that's right, Jamie. He's moved on to the O'Reilly series, doing very well up there, but still coming back to support his fellow truckers from the last couple of years. So why'd you want to come back and see these guys compete out here tonight?
Yeah, Josh, first I got to say congrats. You're 6 for LeBron earlier today officially, so congrats. Although us Wizards are taking it all the way this year. But, yeah, I love IRP. I mean, we were fortunate to get a pull here a couple of years ago, and, I run pretty well at this place, and it's always nice to come and see all the teammates that I've had over the years and people that I've raced against and worked with. So, yeah, just hanging out and being a race fan. And this place is cool. It'd be fun if the O'Reilly series ran here, but you can't beat racing at the big track. So, super fun to watch racing here at IRP. Got a nice crowd on hand, and yeah, we'll see how it goes in the end. Pulling for the Spire trucks, they're 3 and 4 right now, so hopefully they can get a couple spots better.
Of course, well documented your journey over the years coming from iRacing, but what's it been like for you to progress through the ranks, and what's this first season like in the O'Reilly series for you?
Definitely think it's been a learning curve. Not steep. I'd say it's been very steep on the road courses for sure. But I think the thing I've learned the most is I've gone between two teams, right? Between the 88 JRM and the 32 at Jordan Anderson Racing. And times I felt I was pushing too hard because I needed to make the most of the opportunity in the 88 earlier in the year. And I made mistakes doing that. And those moments really taught me that if I just do my thing and not push for that extra little percent, that the results will take care of themselves. And it's lessons that I've learned this year, and it's been super, super valuable. So I think I've got some great races coming up for me to get back into the chase, and then I'll have the rest of the year in the 88. So super excited, and obviously huge thanks to Mr. H and Miss Linda and the Hendrick Automotive Group for supporting me. And I guess I think I hear the truck's getting back going. Won't take too long on the air, but yeah, watch us tomorrow, and yeah, hope the fire trucks get it done tonight.
There you go. Some great perspective from Rajah Cruz.
Standing outside the care center with Daniel Hemrick, and from your perspective, what happened?
The hole closed, and I saw a quick replay of it. I had a run on 13 and was going to send it to the bottom hard. And I pulled out, he turned left too at the same time. And it was kind of a bad situation. So, hate if everyone at MHR tearing racetracks up. It's not something I like to do. So, hate if everyone at Delphi is their second race with us. Had a good run there at Walters Glen. Was looking forward to have another chance to do just that and have a solid showing for them. And out of the race way too early. So, I'm not so sure if I'm more upset about crashing or more upset about just how slow we've been the last 2 weeks. So just got to go back to the drawing board, get a short track program turned around. But it's not a lack of effort. Everyone is giving us all the tools and resources. Chevrolet, Napa Auto Care, everyone's supporting us and giving us everything we need. We just haven't been able to put the right pieces in the right places. And next week, try again.
Thank you, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you.
No, he said he was frustrated with the speed. He's had a couple of good runs the last 2 weeks, sixth and a second place finish, but second DNF of the season and first since Atlanta in the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I think Daniel described it exactly how we saw it, right? It was just it was a move, and another truck made a move that wasn't expected.
I'm not expecting any leaders to come in, but
We're being told, yep, there's Honeycutt on pit road right now.
well, that makes perfect sense. He just hasn't been there today. He needs to do something different. And this adjustment, these tires, this could be what he needs.
Well, it's
Gio
definitely
Ruggiero
different.
coming in as well, his teammate.
There's not many trucks on the lead
These
lap,
guys are
so that's
running
good work.
10th and 14th, respectively, when they hit pit road there. So it's something different.
Yeah.
Get some sticker tires.
Yeah,
Go out there, see
a couple
if you can have
spots.
adjustment that your truck maybe needs. We've documented a number of times that Caden Honeycutt looks like
Gio in 14th is literally going to come out 14th. He's the last truck in the lead lap, and Honeycutt was 10th.
Or the truck
So that only
around
loses
where
3
they want it.
spots.
So I'm okay with this.
Me too.
The other driver involved in that incident, Landon Lewis. Let's hear from him, Amanda.
Yeah, and he said I was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time. What positives can you take from here tonight?
Oh, just a lot of positives for sure. I mean, we made the truck way better from stage 1 to stage 2. I think we were running like the six place lap times, which I thought was great. We drove up to tonight without being scored nights. So I'm just proud of the group effort that we had. Our JF Electric utility truck Chevrolet was really fast tonight. We made it better all night long. Just I guess caught in the wrong place at the wrong time, and definitely don't want to be standing here, but it is what it is, and you have those moments throughout racing. It's just how you come back from them.
Thank you, Landon and Ron Hornaday, right there off camera to come find his driver for that crash.
He was energetic about his progress. You saw sort of the other end of the spectrum with Daniel. Won the short track at Martinsville last year. He expects to be in a position to win races, and he really was never there tonight. And just when you don't perform at the level you hope to, then when a crash happens, especially when you wonder if you could have avoided it, it's just really hard on you. And so it's just the competitor in Daniel, and then just the youthful enthusiasm for Landon, knowing that he couldn't do anything. He was just in the wrong place when the wreck occurred.
And think about the unfortunate turn for McNally Hilgeman Racing right now as well. Have one truck that was running in second, another one that was still battling to try and have a good run, and things turned upside down on their night with Christian Eckes having his problems, and now Daniel Humrick as well.
Well, one guy that has been picture perfect is right there, Lane Riggs. Last year led 160 laps en route to the win. Tonight he's led 140 laps so far. Chandler Smith, his teammate, the only other driver who has led tonight, led 2 laps earlier.
Here we go. We're going to choose it up. Of course, lane goes high. See pretty much people left and right after that. Gavin Michelle in the 1, still on the lead lap, running in the 10th position.
Pretty incredible job by that young man.
And same with Michael Christopher Jr. up in the top 10. Solid, steady run for him. Parker Eatman, we talked about him early, making his way into a position to get a top 10 finish. And then Caden Honeycutt, Regan, is going to restart 14th. We're going to keep our eye on that 11 truck and see what this strategy play is able to do for him.
Definitely, it's going to be fun to watch. You know how far through the field he can get, where he can get up to, and if it maybe helps his night go a little bit different direction here.
Back there with him with fresh tires on row 7, Gio Ruggiero as well. So we'll see what kind of progress they make. It's going to be fun. You know they're going to be 4 wide. Will we see 5?
I think so. I think we see it.
Lane Riggs been so solid in that outside line on the restarts. His teammate on the inside once again. Does anybody have anything for Lane Riggs? It'll be 56 laps to go from Indianapolis. Green flag back in the air. It's an accordion effect on the inside line. You see him stacked up all the way to the mid-pack. Lane Riggs to the point.
Then he got up top there in that yet red truck.
Connor Mozak right there in second, battling side by side. Chandler Smith on the bottom. Here comes Ty Majeski.
Give second to Mozak.
Ty Majeski's going to have to work really hard right here. You can see now Nick Sanchez gets to his outside, and outside appears to be rolling just a little bit right now. When he doesn't have that whole track to complete the corner, he could be at risk to lose more positions if he's not careful.
Nick Sanchez, he's got to be having so much fun. Things didn't work out in the O'Reilly series for him. The team went away. He's been running part-time, and now he comes here and picks up where he left off, battling up front. He's been in the top 5 all night, running 4th right now.
This is a cat we got to keep our eye on. He and his teammate with those fresh tires. Look how low and fast he's able to get down there. He's already got around Gio up to 11. 10th now.
That's a good first few laps, right? You pick up 4 spots almost immediately after hitting pit road, getting those fresh tires you want. He wants to get Caden Honeycutt, wants to get as many as he can, as quick as he can, before it starts to level off just a little bit.
Great battle between Sanchez and Majeski.
I feel like we've seen that battle for the better part of 149 laps right now. It just seems like we keep talking about these two side by side. One time one's on the bottom, the next time the other one is.
Honeycutt picks up another spot into 9th. Brown Grant Enfinger.
He just wants to see these laps roll off green flag while he's got that tire advantage. Be interesting if the caution were to come out again, if any of our other front runners decide to throw a Hail Mary just like this team did.
More likely to get
Ruggiero
4
has
laps on every race's tires.
Tires still in 14th.
Michael, you asked about if anybody else would decide to do that with go right now is crossing the line. I think it all just depends on when that caution.
Yes.
And if you're maybe somewhere around Stewart, Friesen, Andres Perez, maybe you do think about it. If we get another 25 laps in here, and it'll be some tough decisions for crew chiefs if that were the case.
See our biggest movers since the restart. Definitely Caden Honeycutt going in the right direction. There it is right there, up 5 spots.
He's got 2 or 3 trucks here in a row he can pick off in a hurry. There's Gavin down on the bottom in the 1 truck. Andres Perez.
11 trip to Caden Honeycutt right now. And he's got those white gloves that we've talked about. You can see him through the windshield as he exits the corner some, but it does look like everything is kind of smoothened out just a little bit in terms of what he's doing with his hands, right? That means they're making that truck better. Scott Spinelli giving him what he needs in terms of the adjustments, and that'll help this truck continue to have that speed the further into this run that they get.
Wow, 3 wide there.
Gavin Michelle not giving up, guys.
That's exactly right.
It's up inside the
Michael
top
Regan,
10.
that's what I love about this series. Every week the entry list comes out. There's always at least one guy on there. We all have to go to work and research and say, where'd they come from? Who are they? Gavin Michelle in the one is one of them. And what a great opportunity for him, a Tricon Garage. And he's putting them on it. He's been in the top 10 all night.
And I just love, when these 18-year-olds come into the series and the racecraft that they have and the skill that they have and how ready they are. And see the 11 truck of Caden Honeycutt trying to clear off a turn 2. Andres Perez can't quite do it that time, but should be able to get this completed here in the next lap and a half or so.
Don't you love that call, though, by the team to bring him down, get those tires, give us a shot. We didn't have a chance before running just inside the top 10 barely.
Caden Honeycutt's been working all day long. One of 2 drivers, double duty today. Practices, qualifying, ARCA series, and the truck series. This was just before our race, guys. Caden Honeycutt, what a battle at the end. He takes the lead. He's in that 17 car right there. Such a great battle with Carson Brown. Carson had an issue. Payton hangs on and brings home the win, does the burnout, has to do all the victory lane stuff, runs over to his truck for driver intro. So it's been quite a day for Mr. Honeycutt.
They can't do anything with Perez, and look at Gavin down on the bottom. I think Gavin's better than the 11 right now. Just lost that spot when they were racing 3 wide.
Perez doing a nice job on that outside. Wade Riggs continues to lead by just over 2 seconds over Connor Mozak. Chandler Smith, Ty Majeski, Nick Sanchez still top 5. This battle's fun to watch.
There we go.
He gets him. Honeycutt to 7. "42 laps to go from Indianapolis Raceway Park. We're going to step aside. You won't miss a thing. We're going box side by side.
As I take what could be their final side-by-side commercial break of the night, we're going to go through the full field leaderboard here as we are midway through stage 3. Lane Riggs, our race leader, has led all but 2 laps out of 160 completed so far, while his teammate Chandler Smith, who led the other 2 laps, sits in 3rd. Of course, Riggs, with leading all those laps, started on pole and has already won the first 2 stages. Connor Mosak in 2nd. I mentioned Chandler Smith already in 3rd. Ty Majeski up to a race-high 4th place position, and Nick Sanchez rounding out the top 5 and 5th. Stuart Friesen in 6th, Caden Honeycutt 7th, Andres Perez in 8th, Gavin Michelle in 9th in his Truck Series debut in the top 10, and Grant Enfinger is 10th. Tyler Ankerman 11th with Michael Christopher Jr. in 12th, 13th for Parker Eatman. Giro in 14th is the last truck on the lead lap. Ben Rhodes 1 lap down in 15th, Dawson Sutton 16th, Harrison Burton 17th, Justin Haley 18th, Tanner Gray 19th, and Timmy Hill in 20th. Brennan Queen in 21st, Jake Garcia 22nd, Cole Butcher 23rd, 24th Corey LaJoy, and Tony Brighter 25th. 26th is Connor Daly, Minnie Tyrell 27th, Spencer Boyd 28th, Frankie Muniz 29th, and Chris Wright in 30th. Caston Everidge in 32nd, 31st rather, I should say. And then 32nd, somebody's missing on the running order. Somebody's either missing or it's doubled up somewhere. Because it jumps from 30th to 32nd. Look at that. There's no 31st place. I was trying to see if there was a double. Well, I don't see anything right now. Chris Wright scored in 30th. He could be 31st. I think Gaston Everidge scored in 32nd on our screen. He could be 31st. Who knows? Daniel Hemrick in 33rd. Landon Lewis 34th. Christian Eck is 35th. And Jackson Masenko rounds out the 36 truck field. One caution for incident in this one. It was a red flag for about 5 to 10 minutes early in stage 3. And a 2-truck incident involving Landon Lewis and Daniel Hemrick, both trucks out of the race. And for Lewis, his truck ended up catching fire. Some fluids leaked down on pit road after pulling the trucks back into the garage area. So that was what the cleanup was for. And they're back out there again. Lane Riggs has not only dominated in the laps led chart, but every time he has led so far tonight, which has pretty much been the whole race, he's been able to extend his leads quite by a margin. Christian Eckes, who had power steering issues at the end of stage one, was second at the end of the first stage. He was about 3.5 seconds back for most of the back half of stage one. Into stage two, when Chandler Smith and Connor Mosack were in second place, it was over a 6-second lead at the end of stage two back to them. And obviously, it's not going to be as long in the final stage with that caution early on. But right now it's 2.5 seconds over Connor Mosack, and really no contest up at the very front of the field. Caden Honeycutt and Gio Ruggiero for Tricon Garage tried a little bit of a different strategy. They pitted at the end of the stage with only 14 trucks in the lead lap. They were 10th to 14th as is, so either didn't lose many spots, or in the case of Gio Ruggiero, they didn't lose any at all. It's back out on the racetrack. Gio hasn't really gone forward at all, but Honeycutt has. He went from 10th place initially, and now he's currently in 7th, so my strategy did work out for at least a few spots, but it looks like his tires have evened out to this point in the run. Not a surprise considering we only really had about 10 laps or less of green flag laps on the other set of tires to what we have now. Now, if we were to catch a caution before the end of the race, as we have about 30 laps to go here and a couple more laps, then we start to run into a situation where we could see a lot more drivers pit, maybe even the whole field make their way onto pit road with those extra set of tires left, to ensure that they'll have the best opportunity to try to go for the win. Because if you stay out in a late race restart situation, you're going to want a couple rows of trucks to stay out with you. You're going to want a shot to actually win this. Meanwhile, Riggs getting through some heavier lap traffic at the back of the pack, all trucks that have already been lapped at least once.
Each truck in a better position by running that extremely high lane.
You see Chandler Smith trying to adjust his line, trying to go to the high side to maybe throw him off just a little bit with it, and Ty was able to still get back door to door with him. He's going to be a lot closer this time on the exit corner. Chandler's not going to be able to use the track, and this should be it right here.
Ty Majeski told our Josh Sims, this is the night they're going to break this streak. Anytime he finishes in the top 10, he finishes about 25th or worse. He finished top 10 last week, and he's been running here top 5, running in that 3rd spot. Josh.
Hey, Jamie, it's funny about the graph we talk about for Ty Majeski, because also when I talked to him earlier, he said this time last year, I was about 20 points out of the chase or the playoffs at the time. So this year, despite the up and down season, has actually been much better. So this time last year was when he really caught fire, given the short tracks they had ahead. And he's poised to do the same thing, that is, this year.
Yeah, it's interesting. He's had quite a few top 10s, but he's just had so many of those poor finishes that they're trying to clean up.
There's our man, Stuart Friesen, just having a steady, solid night. And he needed that, as you could see right there in 10th position as he tries to make a run for the chase.
And I know he's going to want to do everything he can right here to hold off Hayden Honeycutt, Michael, but also got to keep the big picture in mind, right? He's having a good night. Tyler Ankrum back there in 11th right now, a little ways behind him. So each stage he gained points. Now he's going to gain points at the end of the race as they are right now. So Stuart, as much as he wants to keep that 6th position, just be smart right here, bud.
It came in tied right at that cut line, and you see he's gained 10 points on the 18th. Great night for Stuart Friesen.
Honeycutt's better with those fresher tires. This is when it starts to get interesting to me, Regan. If the caution were to fall, what do these crew chiefs on pit road do is, with relatively so few trucks on the lead lap, I mean, I'm thinking you almost see some action, a lot of action on pit road.
think right now you would see definitely some guys. If I'm the 34 lane Ricks, I'm not sure that I'm taking any chances with anything. And it just, you got to be worried about, right, if that were to happen, how many of them stay out behind you. But
Well, I think that's what would happen if he doesn't come in. They're all going to come in because they know that'll cook them. So tense times down on pit road. Lane's just wheeling that thing, doing his job, but there's a lot of thinking on pit road about the scenarios that could take place if the caution were to fall.
And that's the crew chief's jobs right now too, right? You got to calculate everything out. You got to be continually thinking each lap. Okay, what is scenarios, right? So that you're ready for it if it were to take place. But the what if that I know right now is Lane Riggs is still hooked up and doesn't have a lot to worry about.
Yeah, I almost think that if you are Lane, you're just going to maintain that lead. You're not going to push that truck. You don't want to use up those tires any more than you have to, just in case something does happen late. Maybe just he's out by 2 seconds. Hang in there at that.
And the leader just crossed the line. That means we've reached our Craftsman. 20 to go. Lane Riggs just been dominant tonight. He's going to be in really good position to lock in the first seat of the chase at the next race in Richmond. They're going to have a couple of weeks off. Then Richmond comes up August 14th right here on FS1.
Points. We've been talking all season long about how important they are when we go chase racing. That winner of the regular season is going to have a 25-point advantage when we reset for the chase.
Connor Mozak still trying to do everything he can to get up there to Lane Riggs. Done a nice job on this run though, and you know, I know he'd love to get up there and battle with him, but the day that he's had running in second place right now, piecing together the whole day from the start of practice until the end has been very impressive by him.
I mean, this is the kind of night you hang your hat on. You say, I can do this. There's one guy that messed up my party. His name was Lane Riggs, and he was untouchable, but I put all the rest of them away, and that builds a lot of confidence when a young racer has a night like this.
Ty Majeski, you see, has been able to put a little bit of a gap on Chandler Smith now. Once he got by, we felt like he was a little bit better. And Chandler Smith, this is 2 weeks in a row, right? And I know every driver wants to win every race, but starting to stack, he's stacking some really good finishes together and looking good with the 38 truck.
Sanchez, a good run in that 77 truck just behind the 38. There's Nick.
He's been steady all day long as well, and he's, it's so great to see him getting the opportunity as we've documented. Amanda, what's he been saying?
Back to practice and qualifying. Actually was sitting in that pole position for a while until Christian Eckes and Lane Riggs came up for qualifying, but I got to spend a lot of time with Nick during that bit of time, and he just talked about his memories of the truck series. He was sitting on what could have possibly been his 8th pole in class, but all of his memories that he had here. He found out that he would be in this 77 truck last Sunday, but they have been talking about it for a couple of months. I asked him, might we see you again? Well, the team won't win, but said that we were able to talk about it.
Well, you can see, he's really pushing it, still slipping and sliding around this little racetrack as we get down inside 15 to go.
Stuart Friesen, we talked at the top of the show about the 1-year anniversary of his huge dirt wreck. That left us wondering if we would see him back in a race truck. And he went to work and he vowed that he was going to be back at Daytona, and he was. And it's been an up and down year for Stuart Friesen, but today has been a turnaround. Had his best qualifying effort in, Michael, a year and a half?
Yes.
Coming up on 12 laps to go, this time by Lane Riggs with a 2.9-second lead over Connor Mozak. Ty Majeski, 6.3 seconds back in third. Chandler Smith, 7.6 back in fourth. And Nick Sanchez, 8.8 seconds out the lead in the 5th place position. Stuart Friesen in 6th. Caden Honeycutt up to 7th. Gavin Bichelle in his debut in 8th. And Andres Perez 9th. Grant Enfinger is rounding out the current top 10. Still have 14 trucks on the lead lap. Gio Ruggiero towards the tail end of the lead lap right now. Same for Parker Eatman. And pretty much if you're Lane Riggs, you just got to hope this thing stays green to the end. He's had a lot of lap traffic. Obviously, the whole night has short of a track as we are on. and as long of the green flag runs that we have had so far, but he by far not only the quickest truck on the track, but he's getting through traffic efficiently. How about the average running position for Lane Riggs? Because he's led all but 2 laps today, which were basically on a restart. He's got a 1.01 average running position, of course, almost as good as it can get. 189 of 191 completed laps led. So we're down to 8 laps to go this time by, and Lane Riggs trying to get that 5th win of the Truck Series season, add on to his regular season points lead. And with a win, and where Caden Honeycutt is in the running order right now, plus you got to think of the fact that Lane Riggs would be getting pretty much a max points day today. I don't know if he's got the fastest lap or not, just because that marker isn't on Fox's broadcast for whatever reason compared to like the CW and other broadcast partners. So I don't know who has the fastest lap of the race right now, but we do know Lane Riggs has won the first 2 stages already. So if he wins the race, it's 75 points. He came into the night with a 59-point lead already over Caden Honeycutt, so he's going to be over 75 ahead with the win alone, and Honeycutt outside of the top 5. So looking at a potential clinch of the regular season championship and what would be the following race at Richmond if he could put together another pretty solid performance. And we know how good he is on the short track, so no surprise that he is whipping him here. He's won at IRP before. I mentioned his debut in the Truck Series came right here at IRP a couple of years ago, and he finished in 3rd in a part-time effort at just the young age of 18, and here he is making the most of it in his 3rd full-time season in trucks, and he's racking up the wins pretty quickly. I believe he's going to be, if he isn't already, at double-digit wins in the Craftsman Truck Series level through those 3 seasons of full-time racing. He didn't really break through to victory lane until late in his rookie year. By the point in which he won the first 2 races of the playoffs that year, he didn't even qualify for the playoffs, not only not having a win in the regular season, but didn't have the consistency for points to do so either. But once he got that, then he turns to his 2nd full-time season last year. If it wasn't for Corey Heim winning over half the races, maybe Lane Riggs could have won even more than that this year with Corey Heim not running all the races Riggs has picked up. And 5-win season, that's pretty solid. Not to mention that would be in a 16-race stretch. What about a third of the races we have ran so far this season? Connor Mosak's best run on an oval so far. He has cut the lead down to 2 seconds as Riggs is just trying to manage the gap, maybe manage his tires a little bit in case of a late race caution. I'm sure that 34 truck maybe not going to pit. At this point, you got so many laps on your tires anyway. I don't think it's really going to save much. If anything, I'd be trying to just get to that white flag as soon as I possibly can by running my fastest laps I possibly could put down. 3 laps to go for Riggs, though. As he circuits off turn 2, he's got a decent amount of lap traffic in front of him. I don't think there's any lap traffic between the top 2. .7 seconds off the lead as he crosses the line with 2 laps to go. I think he's just trying to stay clear out of this lap traffic, not have to push the issue. That's allowed for Connor Mosak to put down some of his fastest laps of the race. We got a smoker, Grant Enfinger in the number 9 up on the outside of the racetrack. And you wonder if that's potential fluid being put down on the track in that outer lane. Are we going to see the caution flag? We will not. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go for Lane Riggs as he's got about a 1.5 second lead. Hope that there's no oil in that outer lane up near the wall where Enfinger was trying to stay out of the way. And what a tough break for Grant Enfinger running in the top 10. He was only 20 points to the good entering to the above the cut line at the beginning of the night, and now an engine failure here in the closing laps. Meanwhile, checkered flag in the air as they cross the start-finish line. It will be Lane Riggs winning 198 of 200 laps led, winning all 3 stages in a dominating effort after qualifying on the pole earlier this afternoon. Riggs a winner at IRP again. 1.1 second margin of victory over Connor Mosak in second. As we finish under the regulation length of 200 laps. and 98 laps led. Unbelievable. 2 lead changes, 3 cautions, 1 for incident in stage 3. It actually led for a red flag for a very brief moment of about 5 to 10 minutes. 1 hour, 42 minutes, and 7 seconds total time on the race. 25 laps under caution out of the 200. So the Riggs getting the win. Second place finish for Connor Mosack. And we'll go through the rest of the finishing order as follows before we get into the interview with our race winner. Ty Majeski finishes third, Chandler Smith fourth, and Nick Sanchez finishes out the top 5 in fifth. Sixth for Stuart Friesen, Caden Honeycutt seventh. Gavin Bichelle in his debut finishing eighth. Solid run for the 18-year-old. Tyler Ankerman ninth, and Michael Christopher Jr. rounding out the top 10. Andres Perez in 11th, Parker Eatman 12th, Gio Ruggiero 13th, Grant Enfinger 14th was the first truck 1 lap down after having the engine failure. So luckily, there were a lot of trucks a lap down, and Enfinger only lost about 4 or 5 positions in that final lap of the race. Ben Rhodes ends up finishing in 15th, Harrison Burton 16th, Dawson Sutton 17th, 18th for Justin Haley and Timmy Hill 19th, 20th for Brendan Queen. In 21st, Jake Garcia, Tanner Gray 22nd, Cole Butcher 23rd, Corey LaJoy 24th, Tony Breidinger 25th, Connor Daly 26th, 27th, Minnie Tyrell, Spencer Boyd 28th, Frankie Muniz 29th, and Chris Wright in 30th. Yeah, for some reason it keeps skipping. It was skipping 31st in the running order earlier, now it's skipping 30th. So I don't know who finished 30th, but Chris Wright 31st. Actually, let me see here. Nope, never mind. I was trying to figure out like who was around there in the running order that I don't see anymore, but I'm not even going to try to guess. Caston Everidge finishes 32nd. Again, Chris Wright 31st. Christian Eckes got up to 33rd after originally being the first truck off track. A few more DNFs that followed. So you did get 3 points back by returning to the track. Daniel Hemrick finishes 34th. Landon Lewis 35th. A part of that red flag DNF for the both of them after a crash and pretty hard hits early in stage 3. Jackson Masenko rounds out the 36 truck field with a last place finish tonight. Here's your race winner, Lane Riggs, on the front stretch of the TSport 200 at IRP.
Gratifying, not only for that young man, race team, put together a truck that flawless.
Hear the crowd loving what they're seeing. As he gets his helmet off, we'll send it to Josh, who's with our winner.
For the second year in a row, Lane Riggs sweeps the stages and finds victory lane here at IRP. Led all but 2 laps today. What do performances like tonight say about you and this team?
I think they're just statement wins. I mean, man, what a truck. I mean, I was on cruise control there for so much of the race. He kept me honest there at the end. I was honestly, those last 15-ish laps of traffic, I was running as hard as I could, and I couldn't get away from him. I know we had a pretty good gap, so great job on my spotter, Josh. You did a great job today navigating me through traffic. That one mishap on the restart just spun the tires really, really bad. And when you get these tires spinning, they're so hard to recover. So just thank you to guys behind me for not turning me around. I know that easily could have happened. So I'm not sure where Chandler finished. Had a good run for him as well. So he got it last week. We had to flip the script and do it again this week. But thank you to all of our partners. BKB Bare Knuckle Boxing, BKB 57 in London tomorrow night. Everybody tune in on Vice TV. It's going to be a brawl, as you see on the quarter panel. Ford Racing, all your help. They give us the tools to go fast. And what a race truck. These guys make my job easy. And I think we're just going to keep carrying that momentum and statement win. I think we're the ones to beat for sure.
Never finished outside the top 10 here at IRP. We heard the report that you wanted the same setup in the truck coming back this year. What's it about this place that allows you to have success, and what makes this place so special?
I think just my short track experience racing the Cars Tour, having so much time with just learning how to finesse that right foot. There's not a lot of tracks we go to, like even Martinsville now, you don't have to finesse your right foot. And just here, it's really about tire management, keeping that right rear tire on it. Crew Chief Dylan, my engineer, Jonathan Coates, they do a great job at the Ford Racing Simulator, helping give me what I need every single week to go faster and faster. And it's the same truck. This is the same truck that's won both of our Bristol races and both of our IRP races. So the win percentage, I think, is over 50% for it. But no, it's just awesome to be able to bring that back, bring the same setup back. I said, man, let's just bring the same thing we had back. If we get beat straight up, then we're just going to have to go to work next year. But I didn't want to mess ourselves up. So, man, what a truck, though. It's amazing.
Lane Riggs gets it done for the second year in a row here at IRP.
And with 2 wins.
Well, when in doubt, just bring the same truck you keep winning with back to the track as Lane Riggs racking up these short tracks wins. As he mentioned already, 2 wins at Bristol and RIP with this same very race truck, same setup. Thanks for everybody watching tonight's live commentary stream. Our first of 4 on the Indianapolis race weekend, or only one at IRP specifically for the truck date. Indianapolis Motor Speedway tomorrow and Sunday, as we will pick things back up at 1:30 p.m. Eastern with Brickyard 400 qualifying tomorrow afternoon. O'Reilly Racing at 4 p.m. Eastern tomorrow as well, doubleheader on the channel. And then we'll be live on Sunday for the Cup race, the famed Brickyard 400 as one of our crown jewel events. And we will crown the in-season tournament champion as well. Battle between Todd Gillen and Ryan Blaney for the $1 million bonus. Hope to see you for all the rest of the streams this weekend. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Like as well if you haven't done that either. And I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon, everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday night.